Hey guys, Cosmic CTF here, and welcome to a brand new video, where today we'll be talking about a video which has kind of caused a stir in the YouTube community recently, and that was a video uploaded by ExtraCredits on the 3rd of July 2019, so just about 6 days ago now. So the video in question is titled, Stop Normalizing Nazis, and it basically rambles on about how video games, specifically FPS-based games, force people to play as the Nazis if the game is based in World War II. Basically, in the video, ExtraCredits says that people should not be forced to play as the Germans in a World War II game if they find the ideology abhorrent, which basically means that if they think it's evil. Now, the thing is with this, literally everyone playing these games, except a small margin of people, will think that the Nazi ideology is evil and should not exist, basically. Right, I'm just going to go a quick survey here. You guys watching the video, raise your hand if you support Nazi ideology. I guarantee you, literally no one here supports the Nazis. So basically, I just think this is one of the stupidest things I have ever heard because of one simple factor. It's a fucking video game. For example, in Battlefield 5, you have the Allies and the Axis powers. And the same goes for Call of Duty World War II, and you are assigned to one team randomly, which is the same format for every other shooter that's out there. Now, many games set in World War II will have factions, which, for example, you would have the British fighting the Germans, or the Germans fighting the Soviets. These are basically a historically accurate way of creating a virtual battlefield for the players to fight on. And that's all a video game is. Now, basically, as you guys know, when you play a video game, it's not real. Literally, if you're playing, say, Call of Duty World at War, for example, and you're playing on the German Wehrmacht versus the Red Army, you are not actively partaking in Nazi ideology. You are just going through the shoes of a German Wehrmacht soldier and fighting the Red Army because it's a fucking video game and all you're doing is trying to win. You have your avatar, which you are given at the start of the game, and you try to win by killing the enemy team. Is that so hard to grasp? What makes that so horrible that you are just... Because you are literally just playing a game, it doesn't make you a Nazi just by playing as the German Wehrmacht or the SS in a game. That doesn't make you a Nazi. You have to suspend your disbelief a little bit and just kind of roll with the fiction, because that's literally all it is. And even in a multiplayer game, you're not actually like partaking in Nazi ideology, as I said before. You are literally just using that faction as a way to live in that world and play against the enemy team and try to win, because that's literally all it is. Now, I don't know about you lot, but I don't play Call of Duty World at War and actually think about the team I am on at all, and I just focus on winning. And that backs up what I just said a few minutes ago about no one really cares. So, as I said before, it's a historically accurate way of portraying this battlefield. And I say that because ExtraCredits says in their video that we should just scrap Axis versus Allies or British versus Germans, and we should just red versus blue, which is completely ridiculous, as it gets rid of the authenticity that comes with using the term Axis and Allies or British and German, and it makes the game feel dull. And if the game didn't want to include Nazis at all, don't make a World War II game. World War II was the most un-PC conflict. There was literally a genocide going on of 6 million European Jews. How on earth do you politicize that and make it politically correct? ExtraCredits then brings up games like Counter-Strike, which makes people play as a terrorist, and apparently this is dangerous to society. Yeah, kids who play as the terrorists in CSGO don't just decide one day that because they played as a terrorist in a fictional video game, they're going to go and one-tap some people in the street or make a bomb in real life. People who play video games are not mindless retards, despite what people like to depict us as. We are not retarded. We will think for ourselves. We won't just see something in a video game and like, I know, I'm going to go recreate No Russian now, see you in a bit, guys. They then go on to use Rainbow Six Siege as an example for not forcing people to play as terrorists, as if you don't know, all the characters in the game are counter-terrorists and you just play as defending or attacking. However, these characters still act like terrorists and partake in certain activities such as plant bombs and take hostages against their will. I just don't understand the point that Extra Credits is trying to make here. Because surely showing the acts themselves will make people want to commit them acts than just showing a name, such as putting Nazi in the title or putting terrorist as the team name. Extra Credit states that we must have both sides of a multiplayer shooter equally virtuous. People like to portray World War II as good versus evil, and in reality, some members of the Allies, such as the Soviets, had genocided 7 million Ukrainians between the years of 1932 and 1933. They did this by the forced collectivization of the food that Ukrainians had, which caused them to starve to death, basically. Also, at the fall of Berlin, when the Soviets invaded Berlin in May 1945, the Soviets also raped 2 million German women, with many of the commanders in the Red Army saying, "Use force and break the racial pride of these German women. Take them as your lawful booty," which basically means do whatever you want with them, they're yours, which obviously is a war crime, but this is mainly overlooked by people on the left, as nowadays we have a very left-leaning news and media sources, so basically they like to demonize the right and say that the Nazis were the ultimate evil, when in actuality the communists could, in my opinion, are significantly worse. So by the end of the 20th century, communism had taken the lives of 100 million people. So Extra Credits, where is the video of you talking about the normalization of communism? If forcing people to play as the Nazis in a fictional video game where the objective to win is horrible, surely we should do the same with communists too. My final point is the fact that if people want to stop the normalization of terrorists and Nazis, then people should stop calling everyone they disagree with Nazis and fascists. This is mainly a shot at the left here. Whenever someone doesn't agree with them, they will call them a Nazi or a fascist, and which just doesn't make any sense, because using the term liberally kind of deducts all meaning from it, and literally, by their standards, everyone's a Nazi. To give Extra Credit some credit, oh my god, what happened there? A lot of people in the world will blindly follow whatever people tell them, such as people who pay millions of dollars every year to create adverts, and the people who run the news companies such as CNN and Fox, who try to brainwashing people into thinking a certain way. This is basically just modern propaganda in its purest form, as the very definition of propaganda is something that tries to get people to think in a certain way, differently to how they normally would. However, the people who play video games are not stupid, and because they see a symbol in a video game or on a uniform does not mean that they will go and read Mein Kampf and advocate for the removal of the so-called inferior peoples. So yeah, that's my response to Extra Credits. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like and subscribe. There'll be another story time video going up on Friday. I'm actually working all this week, and I'm basically a labourer, so I'm on a construction site, so that's fun. I'm in pain all the time, every single day. But yeah, that's it for today's video here. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.